Whoa, what happened to the color?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Oh, it's because you're in black and white. That's clever.
I'll summarize our findings.
No, I'll summarize our findings. So this is the 1945 version directed by René Clair, the first theatrical adaptation, the now in public domain version with Walter Huston. Titled And Then There Were None, it has a quick and lively energy that makes it feel fresh even though it's an octogenarian.
That's what I think, sir.
Me too.
And you guys?
We've all come to the same opinion.
True to the novel, this takes place on a lonely island with only one house.
Something magical about an island.
Yeah, like a little world of its own.
How'd you like to spend your last days here?
Why would you say that? It makes you sound totally suspicious. Let's take a look at the cast.
We tell the story in Ireland about the two Englishmen who were cast away on a desert island for 3 years and never spoke to each other because they hadn't been introduced.
I'm not English. My name is Prince Nikita Starlov. Call me Nicky.
I'm Judge Quincannon.
I'm, Dr. Armstrong.
My name's Lombard. Philip Lombard. I'm General Mandrake.
I'm Vera Claythorne. My name is Emily Brent.
I'm afraid I didn't catch your name. Bloor. Bloor. William Henry Bloor.
So here are the unusual suspects, and they have to figure out which one of them is the killer. The butler's my favorite. He's like a living droopy.
Everyone has to eat a peck of dirt before he dies.
Actually, he's more like Dogsworth from DuckTales.
Oh, yes, sir. Everything was provided for. Oh, Mr. Bloor, may I ask you a question?
Of course, my dear fellow.
How many will you be for dinner tonight?
How do we know Rogers didn't lease this house and pretend to be the butler?
Oh, no. Bad psychology. You can rule Rogers out definitely.
I don't see why.
Look at the shape of his head. He hasn't the brains for it.
And he only gets funnier as he gets drunk.
And if that's what you think of me, I'm not going to serve any dinner.
Perfectly disgusting.
And then there's the statues, right? The keyhole scene is some dynamic David Fincher panic room style stuff, but in the 40s.
Strange, but I came to the same conclusion you did. That Mr. Owen is hiding.
Think maybe David Fincher was influenced by this movie?
It would be most interesting. But quite unlikely.
Well, you don't have to be so smug about it. I mean, it could happen. It's a classic. This is why our conversations are not productive.
Too bad, I was just trying to be helpful. Good night, sleep well.
This first movie also opts for the Hollywood stage ending. I assume most of you will probably just want to jump past this one for something more modern or relatable, but I really think this is one of the best for pacing, a balance of humor and dread and cleverness. I think if you give it a shot, you'll be pleasantly surprised.
I hope I will.
I think you will.
I'm sure I will.
Okay, so the next movie is from 1965. Still black and white.
Could be, sir, could be.
Wait, how do you not know it's black and white? Maybe you don't know that you're black and white.
Let us look at the facts.
Right. This time the movie's called 10 Little Indians. It's directed by George Pollock, and what's most notable about him is that he had previously directed 4 Miss Marple movies just the 2 previous years, starring Margaret Rutherford. And this is easily the best of his 5 Christie adaptations. And it makes up for the fact that in those early films he had made a mistake.
What do you mean, made a mistake?
Don't get me wrong, I mean, those Marple movies he made were very popular in their day. It's just that this time he really hones in on Christie's vision. Perhaps it's made easier by having an already established movie come out, as well as multiple iterations of the stage play so that he could see it in action.
I don't see where this is getting us.
You don't think that makes it easier for someone to do an adaptation if there's already previous adaptations of it to look at? I mean, when he set up Miss Marple, I don't think he had anything to compare it to. I mean, those early Marple movies are fun in their own way, but it's widely acknowledged that he strayed pretty far from Christie's Marple.
It's a pack of lies!
Well, regardless, Pollock's 10 Little Indians is a totally solid production in my opinion.
That's the first thing you've said that I've believed.
Well, it's pretty damn close to the 45 version as well.
Mr. Unknown is not only in Texas here under false pretenses, but he's taken the trouble to find out a great deal about us.
Although this time they changed the location from an isolated island to a chalet in the Austrian Alps surrounded by snow. And this is the first of 3 Harry Alan Towers productions.
Oh, he needs a psychiatrist, but bad.
Yeah, he was a character he's worth looking up too. Screenwriter and producer of over 80 feature films. But for us, his career is only as important as far as he's making Christie adaptations, and so with over a dozen movies still ahead of us and 10 actual characters to intro, I think I'm going to leave the Googling up to you on that one.
I'm sure you all know the story of the 2 Englishmen cast away on a desert island who never spoke to each other because they hadn't been introduced.
We were just about to perform that task.
But since I'm not English, I'll break the ice. I'm Hugh Lombard.
Dr. Edward Armstrong. Judge Cannon.
How do you do, sir? General Sir John Mandrake.
Law, William Henry.
Anne Clyde.
This lady, I'm sure we all know. We've admired you on the screen, Miss Bergen.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, I guess that leaves only me. You've probably all heard of Mike Raven and the Blackbirds? No? Where's everybody been lately?
Also, Christopher Lee is the voice on the tape, despite not getting a credit.
It happens.
But it is Christopher Lee, correct?
I really couldn't say so.
Great. Always helpful.
Let me show you something else.
(1965) also brings us the first color adaptation, Gumnam. Gumnam, which translates to unknown, is a Bollywood production from India with musical numbers and everything. Since the title translates to unknown, don't get confused and watch the 2008 movie Gumnam the Mystery, because that has nothing to do with Agatha Christie at all.
I don't think you'd better drink anymore tonight.
Now, this isn't the last Bollywood movie in this list by a mile, but I just want to say that some are Tamil movies, and I realize that I might not be using Bollywood in the precise context here, but sort of as a catch-all for all Indian movies. I'm going to do this because I'm basically culturally illiterate on that, and I have very little knowledge of Hindi cinema, and part of that is the language and cultural barriers, and another part is just not really having any available. I own thousands of movies, but like literally only a couple that are like from India, and well, actually, now that you've made me think, yes, you made me. Now that you made me think of it, I'm going to play one of my favorite parts of Thugs of Hindustan, not just to be self-indulgent, but also to set the mood. Ah, guys, I'm so sorry that you're missing out on this awesome clip from Thugs of Hindustan, but sadly due to copyrights, I can't share it with you. YouTube won't let me. And keep in mind, it's not about the money. I'm long demonetized for so many of the clips that I do, but you think that the international movies, these niche films, would enjoy a spotlight like I'm doing an ad for them, but no. I will post a link to the full video of this clip in the description below. I don't know what mood that was supposed to set up, but to show some respect, I do want to give you and myself a teeny tiny little primer on Indian cinema, just in a couple sentences. Hindi cinema in India is mostly focused around Mumbai, formerly known as Bombay. The combination of Bombay and Hollywood gives us the term Bollywood. And of course, Hindi isn't the only language spoken in India. Tamil and Telugu, I'm going to butcher the pronunciations, let's just move past that. Movies represent 35% of their productions, and India has overtaken Hollywood as the #1 movie production hub in the world.
What happened?
Wow, well, that's a can of worms that we probably don't want to open right now. So short answer, I would say that in North America, we tend to not go out to the theater as much, probably because we all have giant big screens in our houses now. Take a look at these numbers. Keep in mind this is pre-COVID and not that current, but according to Forbes, Bollywood produced 1,600 movies in 2012. Okay, 1,600. The US made 476. Now, India sold 2.6 billion tickets. To the US, 1.3 billion. It's like half. And then finally, India grossed 1.6 billion, while America made 10.8 billion. So that tells me they go out more. Their tickets are way cheaper, and they got way more movies to see. Let's move on. Bollywood movies often have longer run times to incorporate musical and dance numbers. Gumnam is no different. It's with a 2.5-hour run time and a few musical numbers as well. What's that face you're making?
Curiosity.
The opening song is best known for being in Ghost World in the opening credits. A lot of people are going, ah, right now.
Jaan pehchan ho. Did you hear that?
But there are other musical numbers, like this guy's Mac Daddy shoulder shrug while wearing an outfit that looks like he stole it from Gilligan's Island. Now at that nightclub, they announce 7 winners who get to go on a trip.
लकी टिकट जीतने वालों को एक खास चार्टर्ड हवाई जहाज में 2 हफ्तों के लिए मुफ्त विदेश की सैर के लिए भेजा जा रहा है। बैरिस्टर राकेश, श्री धर्मदास जी, मिस्टर किशन, मिस किडी, डॉक्टर आचार्य, मधुसूदन शर्मा जी और मिस आशा।
But they quickly make a stopover in the plane for repairs, and once the 10 actual Indians, I guess they're actual Indians, this is an Indian production for once, once they're off the plane, it takes off and strands them in the middle of nowhere, and they end up at this nearby mansion. Honestly, the butler chef character steals the show with just how unpredictable and bizarre he is. You got to look at this crazy build-up to his reveal to see this Indian Mr. Bean, which is hilarious, but it's like too confusing to laugh, and I love it. Another favorite moment of mine is where this guy is being accused of causing a smoke screen, which causes him in that moment to trigger a literal smoke screen.
राकेश मेरे पीछे भागा था, तुमने नई चाल चली, तुम वहां भी बच गए, तुमने धुआं फैलाया।
This is quite ridiculous.
So the movies a little long and not the most faithful, but if you're not enjoying the bizarre performances and the strange mashup of Bollywood music with 1960s mod style and Agatha Christie, then you're just missing half the fun. Next up, we're going to deal with the movies of the 70s and 80s.